So here we have the amazing entrance of Cassius 614 as Kishimoto. Wanted to make a bit of a reveal out of that, so there you have quite possibly the last time I ever used my terrible, terrible Casca voice. And speaking of voices, here's my key line for Kurono. How does anybody stand listening to that? That's what finally got that voice locked down and into character for me. Had a lot more trouble with Kato's voice. It really took me quite a while to really get that nailed down. I think I finally did by the end, but it kind of floats all around in this early episode. In this beginning episode, I had a lot of trouble figuring out how much exposition to give to the viewer, because so many things are kind of trial and error in the anime. Like, they actually... In my version, there are a lot of little plot holes, like, wait, why don't they just leave this apartment? And the answer is that they can't. They try the doors and they're sealed inside. I wasn't sure how much of that to put in, if it would really cause a lot of, nitpicking if I didn't put that stuff in, but I couldn't figure out a way to make it funny, so I just left it out. One thing that I did pin down really concretely was this bit with Gantz and the Matrix. In the anime for a long, long time, and the manga, I should say, it's mysterious whether what the dude's doing in there, whether the computer is controlling him or he's controlling the computer or what's going on. But just recently in the manga, they revealed some new information, which pretty much reveals that my version of things, where he actually is a computer and the guy is his power source, is just dead wrong. But, oh well, mine's funnier. Since I'm doing a straight-up comedy, that version works better for my purposes. And Portal Humor. Portal Humor is always good. But yeah, like this bit here with the murder is kind of like a throwback to Berserk Bridge. There are a lot of little bits like that in this second episode. I wanted to try so hard to get this away and make it its own thing separate from Berserk, which I just failed miserably at in this second episode. Time and time again, when I was doing this, for some reason, the obvious Berserk connection joke would come up, and I'd think, I shouldn't do that, and then I'd suck it up and do it anyway, because I couldn't think of anything better. This Murdering Time is another one. That's from a remix video that somebody made of Guts. It's Murdering Time! And I thought about making that a recurring thing, actually, and having that happen every time Gantz does the transfer. Because those scenes were kind of hard to do. It's kind of hard to get that transfer on screen and, do the transition to the outside without breaking the flow of the episode, or just having that whole transfer sequence be just a dead spot with no jokes. So I thought that would be an easy shortcut way to do it. But as it turned out, I wound up not having to use that ever again. I was able to work up a unique way of having it happen every time, so that worked out well. Now this bit with the philosophy, originally my idea was that his head explodes just naturally because he was thinking about it too hard. When you say that something's giving you a headache, it's like, I feel like my head is going to explode. But I wasn't sure if that came across visually well enough, and so that's when I decided at the last minute to say, no, never mind, Gantz actually did explode his head, just like happens in the original. Which obviously became this huge running gag, especially in the next arc, which just kind of arose naturally. It was never something that was planned. And I think that's one of those things that, people try so hard to figure out what's going to be my running gag, what's going to be my in America. But I think it's better, I think it feels less forced when it's something that just grows naturally, like that one did. But yeah, all this no-jutsu stuff, I don't know. I think I could have done a better job with this. I was still really struggling to find my own style here. And this whole thing, where I used little music clips there, that's something that I did all the time in Berserk, but as I went on with Gantz, I was able to work that music more naturally into the flow of the episode. It wasn't quite so abrupt. And then, yep, Judo here. I talked in the Gantz finale Berserk finale commentary about my quote-unquote continuity, in which, yes, in my quote-unquote version, everybody dies at the end of Berserk. So, in my head, the afterlife for Judo is that he's just an apprentice cosmic maintenance man, who's learning to go from world to world, quantum leap style, and set right what once went wrong. I think that's just a really cool idea. If I had the footage for it, I think that would be just a badass series all by itself. Judo trying to fix shitty series and fix their shitty filler endings. And then getting torn apart horribly. And this was a little more like what I eventually learned to do a little better, is, you know, work a little Terminator music in there to really drive the parody home. And used Weird Al a couple of times here, because, you know, Weird Al, awesome.